Hello and welcome to the Chiefs versus the Highlanders post-match reaction. This is where we give you our hot takes on the game and our more relaxed, considered view of all the Super Rugby games will be part of the review on Sunday evening. Yes, we have got the Chiefs versus the Highlanders. How you doing? How you doing, Cornflake?
I'm doing great. Great podcasting. Being silent and just pumping the fist in the air. Brilliant performance. Outstanding performance. I thought I wouldn't be smiling in this video, but hey, Jonah Nareki has proved us otherwise, which is all well in the world.
Yeah, everything was going great until basically Ash Dixon got sent off. See, it's all Ash Dixon's fault. When Ash Dixon was playing, the Highlanders were in trouble. Look, the Chiefs came out and look early doors. Both sides kicking penalties. Wow, that's a bit refreshing. Taking the points, not going for the corner. Whoa. That was kind of a bit refreshing. It wasn't really until we had our first yellow card. Now you're going to probably say now that the Highlanders were being picked on, but Seth Tompkinson was something like 2 or 3 advantages before, and the referee had already said, guys, you need to clean up your rucking, and then he sort of steps clearly offside after a big break and really left the referee no choice at that point, to be honest.
Do you know what? I can't remember that first half at all. It's just completely wiped from my memory. I don't know what happened. I just woke up at half time and, we were behind by 9 points and it just come back. There was many instances in this game where players could have been sent to the sin bin. You can argue the Highlanders are pretty hard done by. That second yellow card, I'm sure we'll probably talk about that a little bit later on, about the karma pie splatter on the face there for the Chiefs. But yeah, a lot of offsides. That whole first half was just penalty after penalty after penalty after offside after ruck infringement after offside after offside. And both sides pretty lucky really not to get more.
But in the first half, we had 6 penalties each, so 12 penalties.
That's a lot.
In the second half, we had 11 penalties, so pretty much the same. Only 1 penalty difference. So
there you go.
It felt stop-starting in that first one. It felt like there was lots of whistle, but actually there wasn't as much as you might think, as I say, or there wasn't as much in the second half anyway. And the only way that the Chiefs can score is either apparently from 3 points, or if the opposition is missing a man, they have a 5 meter scrum, because otherwise they just can't score a try. They have 2 well-worked tries from 5 meter scrums. But that seems to be the only trick in their book.
Well, I mean, they had their chances, didn't they? They had plenty of opportunities. I thought they did when they played well, and that first half certainly was their half. The second half, they were not in the match really at all. But yeah, they had plenty of line breaks, plenty of good opportunities. Webber had a good couple of busts. Jacobson at the back at number 8 had a really good couple of opportunities. So there's plenty there. I think just with that man advantage in the back line, and you put 8 guys in the middle of the field on the defensive team, you've got a man up advantage straight away. So you've got to make that tell. It was smart, it was clever, and they made it work. And that's where their opportunities really arose. Finally, in that second half, though, things are massively different. But I think this Chiefs team, it's not like the Rebels that we talked about in Australia, how really did struggle to even get in a position to score a try. The Chiefs definitely had their chances, just the positioning of them. And when they really had a good chance, was from those set piece kind of opportunities. But I don't think you'd sleep on this team, especially for teams like the Hurricanes and the Highlanders again later on. They've certainly got the ability, but first game of the season, though, you've got to remember that as well. And it did tell in that second 40 minutes especially.
Yeah, it did. Even in the first 40 minutes, look, they were really hectically trying things, and it came off. It would make a break, and then that last ball wouldn't be there. Which was a problem. Now we've got viewers from around the world, so welcome, Neymar. I'm guessing from France by the looking at the Quel Seconde Mi Temps des High Popo, which I think basically means high tempo in the second half. But absolutely, it was.
You do that better than you do Pacific Islander names. I have to say, well done, Paul. Well done.
Absolutely. I was in England. I spent a lot of time in France, or in Andorra, between France and Spain, where they speak French and Spanish. I've spent no time here.
Brilliant.
So funny enough, that's something a bit better with that kind of stuff. So there we go. So yeah, absolutely, Neymar. Totally with you on that one. Yeah, and I think I think that really showed in Enrique's first try. Gatland was just pushing it when it wasn't on. We already seen in that the Chiefs' second try that there was a massive rush from this Highlanders defence. As we saw, the ball got thrown, and Dave McKenzie took it from behind him to score that try. That chip over just was not on with that rush defence, and Enrique went very well to go so far. Obviously, Herman from Sweden has decided that my European language is so poor, he has to come in and improve my pronunciation. So, hi, Herman, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good evening, New Zealand. Good morning from Sweden. And congratulations to you, Steve, too. Massive win. Feels good, huh?
Winners are grinners, eh?
Yes.
But I guess the other thing that first off was Josh Ioane couldn't hit the side of a barn with his kick. And I know there was some people on Twitter going, "Oh, those first two are long ones." They were, but they're in the opposition half, and that nowadays, anything in the opposition half goes over. So he needs to add another 5-10 meters to his range, because if 45 meters is out of his range, that's not good. Jeez,
he's a confidence player, though, eh? He's a confidence player. That's massively. If he like the second half, he had his confidence up. He was a genius goal kicker. He was just smoking them, no problem. It was like he was just out there on a training paddock, just knocking them over from all over the sidelines. Confidence, massive part of his game.
Yep, absolutely. One other thing I'm going to touch on before I hand over to Herman on this one, and Fakatava goes over for a try. Well done. Aaron Smith then decides he's clearly playing far too well and pulls him off the pitch and says, "Oi, young kid, enough of that. My turn to come on." So yeah, Aaron Smith pulling Fakatava off, I think, there after he scored. But Herman, what do you think of the game?
Well, that was a weird game for me. I mean, because it looked for all money that Chiefs were in the driving seat after 30 minutes with the second yellow card, and then but my big takeaway is probably that Chiefs right now is probably like a mentally weak team at the moment, because they obviously couldn't handle any kind of setback as soon as the Highlanders just starting like, "Hey, we're in this." The Chiefs fell apart. They were props to Highlanders playing very, very good rugby, especially in the second half, but Chiefs made it quite easy for them too, in my opinion.
Yeah, during the midweek press conference that I was on with Clayton McMillan, he mentioned that basically that a lot of his work had been on trying to get the Chiefs' culture back, and that they'd lost it in translation, he said, since Dave Rennie had left. So interesting one there around that. And we can't, I guess, as you say, that's exactly what you're talking about there. In fact, they kind of lost it. Stephen, your hot takes or your initial reactions to the game?
Yeah, I think we always sort of mentioned at the top of the season that of all the rosters, probably the weakest of all the rosters were the Chiefs, and I think it probably showed out tonight. They've had some really experienced heads in that pack over the last few years. Obviously, they haven't had Brody Retallick for the last couple of years. Tyler Idron has been a huge loss. Remember, you can go back to guys like Michael Leach. They've always had a lot of experience in their pack, but you look at their middle row, a couple of 20 and 21-year-olds in the middle row, and they play a real unstructured game. And I'll tell you what basically for me sums the Chiefs up is the way Damian McKenzie plays. And even if we think back to the very first part of the season where we watched him in a couple of preseason games, I think we actually mentioned in that game they didn't seem to have any structure. And I think once basically the Highlanders got themselves back into the game, got their discipline right, they just really got some momentum and just overran them. And I actually thought just basically being a little bit smarter, but that comes with experience as well, guys. But I also thought during that first half, yeah, they got the run of the green in terms of some of the decisions from the officials. That's the home team as well. Could have been much more closer, but the Chiefs really not good enough. That little chip kick by Bryn Gatland, boy, that was the big momentum turner in my opinion. It turned from there.
The Gatland factor.
He's still a Highlander at heart. That's what it's all about. He knows that those old boys needed a boost. That's what he needed. He gave him a chance. That's all they needed.
I meant more like, because there's some Chiefs fans who are like, oh, Gatland is coming down here and ruin it, but his Northern Hemisphere rugby ruin everything, you know. So you just have to stay, the Gatland factor have to stay constant, you know, in the Chiefs camp. So they keep on losing.
So then, let's Cornflake, I'm going to let you loose with Nariki, but before you go, let me just give you some quick quick stats on Nariki. 1 pass, 9 runs for 195 meters, 4 clean breaks, 9 defenders beaten, and 2 offloads. He really burst into it, didn't he? And was just hitting between players and just finding those weak shoulders.
I tell you what, the old saying goes, he must have had spiders on him or something like that. No one could touch him. He was sweeping players aside. He was bumping off forwards. He was busting out of tackles of guys that never missed tackles. You know, Sam Cane doesn't miss many tackles, but he couldn't touch Nariki. When you're that good, you do what he did on your night. You just don't pass the ball because everything is going your way in that second half. He took players on. He beat players. He made a decision to charge at them or sidestep them or whatever his decision would be. It worked every single time that second 40 minutes, things come off for him. He's been given a better role in this team, a bigger role, a more responsibility. He's a main goal kicker, or not goal kicker, a touch kicker now, a clearing kicker. He's got more responsibility on those shoulders, and that has, I think, so far this season, brought out the better of him as we've gone into the second game now. But he was just too hot. He was on fire. You couldn't beat him. The Highlanders didn't need anyone else on attack. Just give the ball to Nareki, and he's gone. What an amazing sight it is to see a guy like that running, busting tackles, beating players. I tell you what, it had me jumping around the room, that's for sure. It was exciting rugby. Especially, you said, runaway try from that stupid little kick. That was the ultimate slap in the face to the Chiefs. That must have destroyed them mentally. Absolutely smashed them. You're a man up, 5-10 meters out from their line. You got that set piece opportunity. You're up by, 10 points or 15 points or so at that point. And just like they said on the commentary, it's a 14-point try. It's a massive 14-point try. And that was
a 14-point try. That was the one.
Yeah, and it's just that completely changed the game. From there on in, like the guys in the chat say, that was a Joe Nareki show. And the Highlanders just took full toll. That mental aspect of that game. When the Chiefs get shot, then they took control and they never looked back. And it was ruthless, really, from the Highlanders, which is something they have lacked in the past. That depth off the bench we talked about in the preview, bringing on those guys that experienced and have that higher ability. The guys you'd normally see starting, they didn't get weaker, they got stronger. Those guys that normally do come off the bench, they started, they performed. I thought Fakatava, all the talk about him, he brought something really different to that game, his ability to take on players. He ran a bit more than we normally see. He got forward, which the Highlanders did struggle with in the first half. He actually made the gain line. So a lot of positives, heaps of positives. We got done in that first half, 2 yellow cards, ultimate fight back, didn't let heads drop. That's what the Highlanders are about. And
Nareki was very composed in that break. He could see he was getting chased down and he didn't panic. He went, okay, I need to angle and I need to dive early. And that's what got him over.
Perfect finish.
Perfect finish there, which is great to see. So Nareki, another part of it. I mean, Stephen, you mentioned there in our chat that he can blow hot and cold, and quite often these kind of mercurial players can, but maybe it's also an element that he's this only second year at Super Rugby level, maybe getting used to the level as well and the pace.
Oh, listen, if you're going to have a hot game, have it at Super Rugby level. I know Brotago over the years, he could be up and down, but I was just going to say, I actually quickly wrote some quick notes while I was watching, guys. Up until that try, probably the best winger on the paddock was Etienne Nana Satoro, because he
was amazing.
You talk about people with spiders on them. Well, he must have transferred those spiders onto Nareki because he was beating players with his footwork. And boy, don't we all love watching players with great footwork? But boy, you're right. That try on the 33rd minute, it just completely changed everything. Even Low on the other wing was having a pretty good game. They were probably the two best wingers on the paddock. And then the whole game just with that brilliant momentum change. But also, I think the other thing that really changed was the game of Josh Ioane as well. Once he got his game going.
Let's just go back. Just want to quickly go back to Nane Satore. His stats, in some ways, quite similar to Nariki's. In fact, look, 1 pass, 10 runs, 104 meters, 10 defenders beaten. But tellingly, 0 clean breaks, right? Quite often, jinking and juggling past 1 or 2 players, but perhaps running down blind alleys a little bit some of the time.
Paul, I was going to say, that's up to, if you know a player's got that sort of strength, that's up to the rest of the team to get support players right on his shoulders and take advantage of those little moments that he's making in terms of beating players. But yeah, you are dead right at the end of the day. They did not make those clean breaks that they were making in the first 30 odd minutes. But you've got to say,
he didn't make any. Yeah,
the Highlanders have got the wood on them, eh, in terms of comebacks. Because wasn't it last year they came back from the dead as well? But on this occasion, listen, even far more convincing, because with 15 minutes to go, there was only going to be one winner in this particular game. And if you actually think of that time period from 7 minutes before half time, pretty much till 10 minutes till the end, they just completely dominated them through that time.
Yeah. And I think that part of that comes back. That has got to come down to what Corflett was saying about having those starters coming off the bench to close out the game. Was key for them, absolutely. Which means that players like Fakatava, Nariki can actually give it a go and know that if they make a mistake in the first half, the team can make up for it later. They don't have to worry too much about it. Whereas if you make a mistake in the last 5 minutes, it's just too late. It's all over, isn't it? So perhaps it takes the pressure off them a little bit, lets them play a bit better. Gavin in the chat reckons that Josh Ioane is much better than first 5 than Hunt.
We saw that last week, didn't we? In their first game, I said it. The impact he had off the bench, massive. He runs at the line better. He slides through those spaces better. He likes to attack the line, and that makes the Highlanders a much better side with the midfielders they've got as well. So yeah, he does feed off that, but I think they complement each other very, very well. And it's that sort of style of rugby we see nowadays where you've got 2 playmakers, 2 guys that can succeed at fly half and cover at fullback, and you've got wingers that can go back. You're very much a rotational sort of team now where players have the confidence. You know, a fly half 10 years ago, if he got stuck in a ruck, the whole team went, well, who's going to take the ball up? Well, who do we give it to? You know, they didn't know what to do. So now you've got guys, you know, the roles are very much versatile with the players. You know, the wingers can cover the fullback back. He can go to first receiver. And it all just looks after itself. But yeah, the Highlanders have a good continuity going there, I think, with Ioane. I like how he takes the line on. He makes his back line much more dangerous, creates a space for those guys outside. And you certainly saw him grow in confidence, like I said earlier. When he gets that confidence, he's a much better player and he makes things happen. And he did in that second half.
But it seems like a no-brainer call to do this, because Micham just didn't look bad at all at fullback today either, I think. I thought he was really solid. So it should be very easy to go on with this 10-15 combination for the Highlanders.
Well, last year they had Hunt at 10 and Josh Ioane at 15. So they've been playing with it. They've also been trying out Solomon Alamalo at fullback, who a couple of seasons ago, probably about 3 now, when he had a really good season, people were talking about him as an All Black, and then he's been injured and his form has dipped. So yeah, there's a bit of depth about this Highlanders squad. They haven't always had in previous years.
Finally.
Guys, I was just going to say, just on Josh Ioane, if you remember, he went through that low period with Otago last year when he got stood down. Obviously, made some little indiscretions off field, and it just seems like he's got his head back in the game. But listen, I totally agree with you guys. I actually think he's the best first 5 in this team. He takes the ball to the line. He's got that little... that bit of extra X factor, shall we say, as well. And boy, he doesn't mind putting on a decent shot. That shot that he put on, was it Brad Weber? God, I thought he was going to absolutely cut him in half. And once again, leading up to that, a little bit unlucky for them with the yellow card. If the official, maybe the referee's challenge, sort of liked about Aaron Smith as well. He's close to the action. he's the sort of guy who is going to make a referee's challenge. I don't think when you've got your head stuck in the front row, you can always see what's actually transpired before. I'm pretty sure if Ash Dixon had made a referee's challenge when he got that yellow card to go back and have a look, I'm pretty sure they might have picked up a forward pass.
Until the last...
sorry, no referees. That's right. I'm sorry.
No, not that. No, you're not allowed to make a referee's challenge apart from for try scoring.
In the last 5 minutes.
Or anything in the last 5 minutes. So because it wasn't in the last 5 minutes, Ash Dixon couldn't use a captain's challenge for that. He wasn't allowed to. But
is anyone surprised that becoming Aaron Smith is the first one who does a successful captain's referral?
Well, the first
scrum
one,
half.
Of course, he was a scrum half doing that. Of course.
I wish they had that in traffic rules as well. So, for example, if it was 5 minutes from home and I got picked up by a traffic cop, I'm 5 minutes from home. Oh, okay, that's all right. I'll let you go. What the hey, seriously?
Yeah, I'm with you,
I must be
Stephen.
missing something, and I haven't been drinking.
No. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why.
So it was fun having the commentators get it wrong. I mean, they're leading all the people who don't know the laws, and the commentators get it wrong. It's just no, that doesn't help anybody. So let's talk about that challenge then. I mean, Boa in our Facebook chat group was like, "Oh, look, the referees." And to be fair to the referee, there's just been a try. He's trying to talk to the TMO. He's trying to talk to his assistant referee, and then he's got Aaron Smith. You know, he's got 10 seconds to make this call. Otherwise, he's not. Otherwise, he'll get timed out. Going ref, go back, elbow, ref. What number? 12, ref, go back. Shut up! But I'm making a referral. I'm going to do it now. Otherwise, I'll get run out of time. Good luck to a referee in that situation, to be honest. But I think some of the clear things, so folks, so that you do get to understand referees, the captain's referral. The captain has to be specific, and hence the referee said, "Okay, what number?" So the captain had to know which number had done the actual action and exactly what the offence was. And they went back and reviewed it and decided it was a penalty. People in our live chat were going red card or yellow card, or so who knows. I was trying to sell my Barlina at that point on the Facebook Marketplace because the game was over. So I missed a bit of that. But
it was very exciting.
You can't lead an arm into someone's throat or head area, and you're going to get pulled up for it nowadays. So not a surprise there. But well done to Aaron Smith for getting it right. And then Sam Kane's like, I want to do a counter one, and the referee's like, sorry, mate. You've missed the 10 seconds. Off you go. So, yeah. Any final points, boys?
Stevie?
God, geez, I was going to wait till last. I was going to feed off everyone else's points.
Because you have a long speech in the end.
Go for it. Oh, I'm going first. Okay. No, I don't have too many final points. That's why I was waiting on anyone else. Fantastic match. Final points. Jonah Nareki is a rugby god, and that's all we need to know. He is outstanding. Let's see more of him from next weekend and a build-up for the Highlanders in the future seasons or future weeks of the season as well. So, hey, game of two halves, isn't it? That's what they always say. The old rugby cliches are really wrapped out this weekend, and we've seen finally in the second half some exciting, good rugby. Some good phases, some exciting plays, a Highlanders victory, which we all want to see. Down with the Chiefs. Enjoy that wooden spoon, Paul.
Thank you. It was more a game of 30 minutes and 50 minutes rather than two halves. But anyway, we'll give you that.
Yellow card.
About Nareki, I was thinking a bit about you also, Conklin, because I know you like to play video games and so on. It was the same feeling watching him play, like when you watch either play FIFA or a rugby challenge, and you actually do some cheating behind the scene and up boost the player. It was, you know what I mean? When you're playing with Messi on FIFA, you know, like it was the same feeling watching him play, because they literally couldn't touch. Because let's not forget, he was so close to set up another try for the Highlanders. It was one of the forwards who knocked it on after another amazing game. So yeah, I mean, that's what big takeaway for today. And it's looking hard for the Chiefs, but maybe we should save that for another day. Because Harris was already into it, but not having Brody Retallick there, it's massive. I think it's massive. I think that's pretty much the reason between 0-0 and 4-4 season for them. That's how big I think it is. So yeah, they're gonna keep on suffering. They're gonna keep on suffering because it's not exactly like we're gonna play any easier games after this. Maybe against the Hurricanes.
Well,
that's a maybe.
As Cornflake pointed out, they're one game behind the Highlanders' record of losing games on the trot, and they get the Crusaders next weekend. So that'll be
go the Crusaders.
Well,
go for it.
No, sorry, but Crusaders is actually the team that usually step up against, at least for the last 4 or 5 years. So, but I think that's probably not going to help them either this time around.
I was even going to stoop as low as supporting the Blues so that the Chiefs would take over this record. Now that's bottom of the barrel. Take that record, Chiefs. It is all yours.
Yeah, we've definitely passed the mantle to the Chiefs there, I say it, so I definitely know that feeling, Steve. But I'll tell you what, just in terms of next week, that performance from the Highlanders has given the Blues plenty to think about. Once again, the Highlanders have shown they've actually got some firepower. And as for the poor Chiefs, I noticed, Herman, you had a bit of a comment in and around Sam Cane. Listen, I thought he played all right, but you're only as good as some of the cattle that you've got around you, and obviously some of the cattle around them is just young and basically experience, and they're just missing some of those heavy hitters. But I also like it when a team's not getting the calls going their way, and the Highlanders weren't getting the calls going their way, and I thought they showed a lot of pluck and a lot of grit to actually pull themselves off the floor. You know, a lot of teams would have fallen apart after those 2 yellow cards under the pump, but they stayed in the fight, and that's what makes sport so exciting. And the bummer is for the Chiefs, not only are we still stuck in level 2 for them down there, maybe a good thing that all their supporters didn't turn up tonight, if you know what I mean, to probably witness that. Lucky that they only did have 100 odd supporters there tonight. But, mate, I'd like to feel sorry for them, but after what the Blues went through, I can't, guys. We can go the Warren.
Dear me. Okay. Sam Cane, top the tackle count with 15 tackles, missed 1. Funny enough, that was Nariki. The one point we haven't...
that cost a try. That cost a try.
Exactly, yes. One other thing we do need to talk about, though, is the tackle in the air, or the no tackle in the air. And so what happened was a bit of a shocking pass. The player jumps up to get the pass into makes contact with another player, does a full 3 whatever, and lands on his side. At least it didn't land on his head or anything like that. Now, basically what I think has happened, and it wasn't even a penalty, which was, everyone's like, whoa, hang on a second, he's taken a player out in the air. That surely is. I think what the referee has decided there is that the player has got into a position where he's expecting to meet a player who's collecting the ball, which he'd expect as a pass. And the guys jumped at the last minute because it was a horrendous pass. How can that player know that the player's going to jump to try and catch a ball? It's not like a kick where you know it's coming down from high, so it's going to be caught. So I think that's why the referee decided that, which I think is sensible. Unfortunately, it isn't actually following the laws he's supposed to apply, but I think it shows common sense by the referee that the defender is just...
I want to add to that. Sorry, Paul.
Yep.
For me, it looked like the Chiefs player also tried to get out of a tackle right away when he saw the Highlanders players jump too. Like right away, he turned himself down. Right away, he turned himself, like not to interfere with. And I thought it was pretty clear that the Highlanders played, oh, now I'm going to try to milk a yellow and a red card here. Like, look at this. Because it was absolute malice. There was no poor timing. The only player who had poor timing was the passer.
Yeah. So
you look at the last couple of weeks of this, or a couple of weeks only competition has been going. Quite often, they will call if a player jumps for a pass, they don't class it as in the air like it is for a kick. So if you take a guy out in the air off a kick, is different to taking a guy out in the air from a pass. Pretty much as you explained it, Paul, which I was spewing at the time because we were getting absolutely hammered at that point and looked out of the game. And I was like, come on, something go our way, please. For the love of God, give us something. And I was like, if that isn't something that we can get, surely. But yeah, the consistency wise, that has been something. If you jump for a pass or something that's not a high kick, it's not ruled under the same sort of way. So I can see why they did it. But at the point, I was ready to throw bottles at the referee.
But they haven't changed the law yet about it, because I remember that was pretty ridiculous. Was the second Lions test? It was Kyle Sinclair who got a shit pass and jumped up and got tackled in the air. And I don't remember which All Black player did it now. But you remember, it was the last penalty in the second game. And I remember Kieran Reid even talked to the referee. So I can just, like, when I receive a pass, I can just jump in the air and no one can tackle me anymore. Is that the law? Has this been straightened out yet, or is it still a grey area? Because it is kind of ridiculous that if you catch a high pass in the air.
It's not a grey area at all. It's very clear that you cannot touch a player in the air.
Even if it's from a poor pass.
Even if it's from a poor pass, yes. So as Boa says, he's got no issue with the fact that there was no card or penalty for that situation, but the referee got it wrong. He did not follow the law, right? I think we're all in agreement. Yeah, it was a sensible decision by the ref, but he didn't follow the law book in that situation.
Definitely.
So there we go.
I wanted something at that point. Jeez.
Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Let's get on to Super Rugby AU next with the exciting Waratahs taking on the Western Force.
Yeah, they look hot. They look hot, Waratahs, this year. They look really hot.
Come on, the Force. That's what we need. Go Force. Make this night even better. Double hit.
Force is going to get their first win tonight.
Yeah.
Expecting the Force to get their first win. Folks, let's so go and enjoy that one. So we'll be back on Sunday at 8 p.m. reviewing all 4 of the Super Rugby games. So do join us at that time. Thank you guys for joining me.